call, please.
Hart. Here. Hicks. Here. Janeski.
Here.
Lynn.
Here.
Ludwig. Here. Smith.
Here.
Woodard.
Please stand and join me in saying the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Agenda item 4, public participation and recognition of guests. I don't think there was anybody who was on to speak to the board. Agenda item 5, consent agenda. Hope everybody had a chance to review the consent agenda. Do I have a motion to approve it as presented?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Motion by Ludwig, seconded by Lynn, to approve the consent agenda items as submitted. Hart.
Yes.
Hicks.
Yes.
Janeski.
Yes.
Lynn.
Yes.
Ludwig.
Yes.
Smith.
Yes.
Woodard.
Yes.
Motion carried by roll call vote 1.
Agenda item 6, FOIA request. We had none this month, correct? Okay. Agenda item 7, OEA. Ms. Grimm.
I don't think we really have anything. Mr. Mulvaney and I are finally, I think, going to meet on Monday. The weather has been kind of knocking out the meetings left and right. And so we may have some MOUs for you guys to look over next month, but I think that's about it.
Sounds good. Thank you, Ms. Grimm. Administrative reports, Mr. Mulvaney.
As is on the agenda, I see Mr. King's here tonight for our bond referendum. We have had some issues with the stop arm cameras on our buses. The technology that was purchased for the stop arms has gone obsolete. So I know Roger has talked to Chris and they have been looking at alternatives to new cameras. However, I did see a quote, and it looks like for us to replace those cameras and go with new technology is going to be about $1,500 a bus. So that is not obviously an action item on this agenda because we just got the quotes, but that is something that next month we'll have to consider whether we are going to replace those cameras on those stop arms. And while we have got that quote, I've asked Roger to continue to see if there was alternatives to that because that's going to be a fairly expensive replacement if we go down that route. Also,
How many buses?
that's a great question. Next year, with us giving those 3 back, I believe there will be 9. As we talked about earlier in a couple different meetings, our old Suburban is basically about ready to run its last lap. I know Roger has been looking for a replacement for that. He sent me a quote on a new Suburban, well, a 19 Suburban with 40,000 miles on it that's going to run like 29.5. So if we want to replace the Suburban with another Suburban, I would guess finding a used vehicle in that range would be appropriate. I do think that you can get close to a new van like our black van for that same range. I had asked Roger, who basically uses the Suburban. I know at times Cross Country has done that, sometimes the cheer team. But if you've got 2 vans, you could haul the same people and you're going to get a newer vehicle. That's something for us to think about, though. But don't be surprised if you see that as an agenda item here shortly. That's one of the things I think before I gracefully bow out of the district, I would like to have the opportunity to replace that Suburban and maybe the district's work truck. I think that's something that we need to do. I think We have got the best that we could probably get out of those two vehicles, and it's time to replace them. So you'll probably see that as an agenda item, like I said, before I make my exit. If you tell me that you're not interested, then that's just the way it is. But I think I need to kind of push the board a little bit on those two vehicles. Other than that, we're going to get out of this meeting. It's going to be a month, and it's going to be spring break, and then we're on the downhill run. So it's amazing how fast this school year has gone. But once again, I will tell the board and the guests, I've been very impressed with the teachers and the staff in this district. You have a good, solid district here, and I think there's a lot to look forward to in the future. And I just hope to be able to this spring make sure that we've got things in place to just continue to move forward. And I look forward to being that catalyst before I get out of here. And as you can tell, we're not Westville or Danville tonight because we don't have a packed room that's yelling and screaming at us. So that's all I've got.
Not yet, anyway.
Keep talking, Bob, and that may happen.
Any question, Mr. Mulvaney? Thank you, sir. District Curriculum Coordinator, Ms. Kimbrough.
I only have one thing to add that I did not put, but I have a big PD audit tomorrow, or on Friday at the ROE. So they just took our last year of all the PD we gave out, and that was all the summer meetings, all the 11:30 dismissal days, all the teacher in services, and there's just paperwork that goes with each evaluations and everything like that. So that's coming up on Friday. So I think I didn't have in mind.
Any question, Ms. Kimbrough? Thank you. High school principal, Ms. Smith.
Just a couple things to add. One, Mrs. Marsh visited the junior high to go over schedules, so we're getting that rolling with the new forms. We'd like to move freshman orientation to August from February. The reason for that is because students don't have access to their actual schedules until August. So my thought was that we could have the same kind of freshman orientation night with the clubs and different activities, and then they could actually walk through their schedules, learn how to open their lockers and do all those things that we can't do during February freshman orientation. We can still have packets of information out for families, and we've already shared the course description books with families. I don't know if you have any thoughts on that. That was something that we discussed as a team, and I've seen in other districts as well.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Good idea.
Another quick change, or maybe big change, is we'd like to host graduation at the high school this year. We reached out to Mr. Lee to find out kind of why historically we had moved to OGS instead. There were two reasons that actually Michelle reached out, was given. That was one, there wasn't any air conditioning at the time, and two, there was a concern about space. We have 66 students graduating, but not all of them are walking. And with the fact that we have air conditioning now, I think it'd be really great for the high school students to graduate in their high school. Any opinions or thoughts about that?
What was it last year? So where are we?
We were, last year.
How many people?
Yeah.
Like, I think 75, around there, 77,
Okay.
a little larger than last year.
Yeah, you could have told me anything. So.
It was in the 70s.
Is there floor seating?
Yeah, so the idea would be for us to have seats in the front, and then we would have seats on the floor, and then handicap accessible seats on the floor as well. Because I know that is a concern in our gym.
Yeah,
And-
how would you say the ease of sitting, a lot of grandparents coming,
I
and our
thought,
gym is not very.
I thought we could do reserve seating for some families if they do have special needs, and that's something that we can open up for discussion. I'm happy to do that. And then maybe something to put on the agenda for next year to think about is I would love for our students to have access to treadmills. There's space in the weight room for 3 treadmills. We've been working on some fundraising ideas and haven't been able to get any money for that, but the survey that I sent out revealed that 6 of the coaches would use it. Also, the fitness, PE, strength training classes would use it for interval training. So I think it would benefit every single one of our programs. We can get a commercial grade one that would have an incline and be up to 350 pounds for under $3,000. So I would that would be for one. I could look at donations from like Planet Fitness when they recycle theirs. You can sometimes get a better deal on those. So just food for thought, ideas, I'll take them if you have them. Right now, our wrestling team has to go to Salt Fork to do conditioning because we don't have any treadmills at the high school. Oh, and then Michaela Whaling tied for 7th in sectionals. She was our first speech person that we've had in a long time. So really great accomplishment. She got 4th at regionals to move on to sectionals.
A question about graduation. Will we continue to have it on the same day with the junior high and high school?
I would work with the junior high to make sure that we're not conflicting.
Yeah,
Because those are
yeah.
definitely important things. So I think we would plan to do graduation at the same time we did last year, and then that would still allow time for them to be prepared for their graduation. I think they did it after ours last year.
Well, one of the things you're gonna have to consider is if you have the personnel to get both those gyms and both those graduations ready. That'll be something to talk about with Mr. Siddons. So, yeah, that's one of the things we're gonna have to consider if we move it from the grade school to the high school is, do we have the chairs? Do we have everything we need to be in 2 separate buildings on the same day?
I don't know how you are on chairs now, but chairs used to be a big
Right
deal.
now, if we have it all in one place, would be okay. If we have it in 2 different places, we'd have to have different days because I don't have enough chairs to.
Which, I mean, I don't necessarily know that they both need to be on the same day anyway.
I'm gonna say the parking is gonna be your biggest thing. And then you're cutting down the amount of people that are gonna get to come. The grade school gym holds about 1,200. The high school, if you set it up and everything, you're gonna be under half that, maybe half.
Well, I don't mind having it at the high school. I'm just saying maybe it needs to be on 2 separate days just because of what the logistics are gonna be to set up both gyms and we can talk about it.
We used to have it on separate days, and then when we went to the high school, or to the grade school, we combined the days because we could use the same decorations.
Same setup. Oh, I get it.
Same setup.
Do we ever have it outside anymore?
We used to have it outside.
Yeah.
But I want to tell you what, that is not the most ideal thing because you're calling the weather at the last second and you got people saying, well, it didn't rain and we could have been outside. And then people say, well, look, it started raining and we should have been inside. So yeah, it was a tough call.
How many kids we got in the 8th grade graduating?
50.
52 technically.
We got time to,
Yeah.
to look at all those things.
Ms. Smith, how much did you say that treadmill was? Did I miss that?
For each treadmill would be under 3,000. I did get one quote for $1,750 for one treadmill. It went up to 350 pounds with a 12 incline. That was through Dick's.
And you wanted 3?
We have room for 3 in the weight room. Ideally.
For some reason, I thought I saw on your notes that it was $14,000.
We have helped the Booster Club raise $14,000 over the past 2 years because they asked us to
Oh,
help.
okay.
We haven't been able to acquire any of those funds. I requested treadmills or help with treadmills from the Booster Club and they said no. It wasn't in their budget. So the fundraising that Mr. Steele and I did with the students and coaches hasn't been accessible to us. So I'm looking for other options, fundraisers that we can do so that we can make sure that all of our student populations can benefit from.
So you mentioned in your report that the Boosters Club is dissolving. No, you're not in charge of Boosters Club, but can you share any information on, how that happened or what we in the community, is it a done deal? Is there options for new people to come in, or I hate to see that?
So I do have some ideas. One, when I was hired on a year, 2.5 years ago, however long it's been, I was approached by the Booster Club, and Mr. Steele and I both were to help raise money for the boosters, and then also some new fundraiser ideas. So we brought the raffle idea, which both of us had experience with in previous positions. And then we did nights to sign up. We gave all the information to the Booster Club members, and then nobody wanted to work with the current members. And then there's only 2 current members in the group. So I've provided as much as I can to help continue the current group. They told me back in August they wanted to dissolve it and requested like what kind of money they might want to spend. And I said, hey, here's the survey from August from the coaches. I'd love for this to be an option for some of the funds that were raised, and didn't get a response. And then I sent one again a month ago or maybe 2 weeks ago saying, hey, just following up, is this a possibility? They said it wasn't in the budget. So after they dissolved, which is 2 people, I don't know whatever they choose to do with the money is what they choose to do, because technically they raised it. I mean, we did help, but it was under their name. So at this point, I would like to restart a group, either start something that's an FFA supported parent group as one group, one that's maybe music and one that's maybe athletics, to separate it. I've seen that model work in other districts. I don't know if that would be a great option here. Exactly, I think add to.
Yeah, I mean, you know, not having a booster club would be, I think, pretty tough, you know, for our athletics. I mean, you know, we see that at all school districts where we have booster clubs and they do it for our students and student athletes, and we need, I think, something like that. We've had a lot of parent volunteers that have come through and just did little things like whenever our teams have made playoffs or stayed, or, you know, and we know those people that do great things like for us on senior night. And I know last year when we had freshman orientation, we had a lot of people come up in division to say, hey, you know, there was a lot of interest expressed in being a part of the booster club. And those people are, you know, I just think as long as we're thinking about everybody, you know, obviously there's a lot of sports that do cost a lot of money, more so than other ones. But as long as we have a group that are looking for the best interests of everyone, I think that would be very worthwhile. And I know there's people in this community that love to help, they offer their time. You know, and that's something I think we need to take a hold of.
Can I interject for one? There's only 2 people.
Yeah.
And 2 people can't do everything.
Right.
And so I think that is why it's dissolving. I don't think it needs to go away, but I think the 2 people are tired of carrying the load, and people want things, and 2 people can't do everything that goes along with it. That's
Is there a
number 1.
501(c)(3) involved or anything like that?
Yeah, I think so.
So would it be beneficial
There's
to
not.
find someone to
I-
continue it? Should we press the community to get?
Well, I think
more
that
members
they've
to come
had,
in
like,
and
try to
help?
have signups and have people come, but you have a meeting and there's 2 people there, it makes it just a little bit harder.
Sure.
And Shannon being one of them, so, like I said, I kind of spoke with Shannon a little bit about it. And I think that when they dissolve, that they're just giving the money to the sports department. So if they wanted to buy a treadmill with their part of it, but I think that's where they're just kind of giving back. It's all going back to coaches, to athletes, to like, that's where they wanted it all to go.
Yeah.
They want to keep their scholarship program going. And I think the other thing was that they buy the senior banners, so they want to make sure there was money for that. But I think the rest of it is going to the organizations. And some organizations have come with specific needs, like let's go back to like baseball, softball with their batting cages. So they want to make sure that they get those batting cages. I think football has some needs that she has like they're giving them to the needs of so I think it's already, Marcy's the only other person. So I think she and Marcy sat down and decided where the need was, where they've given it, and just want like to be done, keep the scholarships going. And then if somebody new wants to take over it, then it's just fresh start and new members and can go. But it just,
We're not losing anything, that's why I didn't know if there was any.
no, but I just
Not
feel
the
like,
money, but if there was a 501(c)(3), you needed to have that to continue.
but I also feel like it's, you know, there's a lot of people that have interest. Where are they? Where are they not there? Why are they not coming to a meeting or signing up? And they do have freshman orientation, a place to parents to come in and kind of look, and people are like, yeah, I would, and it just doesn't. People are busy, or people like it just didn't really pan
I will
out.
share that I was one who signed up for freshman orientation and never did get.
Yeah, and I think that just two people trying to carry the load is a little bit
So I think there
harder.
is an interest. I
Yeah,
think if
yeah.
you get the right people involved, and I don't know where the disconnect was. Maybe they lost the paper. I don't know. Maybe I lost the email. But I think hopefully, and I've been involved in other organizations, and it is hard to get volunteers.
Yeah, it is. And like I said, I think that's the reason for it. I don't think there was any problem.
Money goes to the booster club, so there's not gonna be a
I
booster
just
club.
Yeah.
There's not gonna be a
to make
good
sure
one.
that we're doing everything.
Well, Brenda,
Can I interject a couple things here? As a financial person of the district, there is no 5013C, okay? Because of it being a school district,
Okay.
okay? The booster club is supposed to be non-employees. These two took it on as employees because it was going to fold, and they didn't want to see it fold. The problem is the people that did come have a object that they want, like they only want it spent on football. They only want it spent on a certain thing. The booster club is to be overall. And you can't just raise money and spend it only on one place. It has to be split up. That's what our rules say. That's what our legal papers say. So when people come and have an objective and they're turned down, a lot of them have left because of that. Because they're only football parents, they feel like they did the fundraising, they only want the money spent on football or basketball. And it can't be that way by the school code rules. Okay?
Do you feel like there's any disadvantage in letting it dissolve and starting anew?
It will have to be. There's no bylaws. So to start up a new one, you have to have bylaws, you have to have officers, it can't just be a committee of whoever wants to come and run it. It has to be run as a legal organization.
So is it not running that way now?
Now with two people, no. No, because you don't have any voting powers. You don't have enough people.
But we have the bylaws and everything.
No, there is no bylaws. We can't find them.
There used to be.
There used to be, and we have reached out to Brenda. We don't know where they have went. And another thing is with
They
the
used to be
booster
in the
club,
safe at high school.
the treasurer has to have the money connected to their social security number. People don't want that. So they don't want to get involved with it. Because you have to go and have your social security number attached to it. Okay?
Thank you.
Any other questions for Ms. Smith? Assistant Principal, Mr. Steele, AD.
So just have a few things. Some I just wanted to kind of add to my report that I feel like is necessary based on like the last postseason because we're finishing up for winter sports. One thing is the basketball team, they received the 6th seed and they were hosting Sullivan Monday in the quarterfinal. We will actually host that, and then if we win that, we go on to Westville, what they call subsection, what's regional now. We will play Tuono Unity if we win that game. Also in basketball, I think it's necessary to point out that Jackson Dudley is one of our basketball players that earned his 1,000th career point. So I think that's something that should be mentioned. Also, in wrestling, we have state coming up starting tomorrow through Saturday. We have 6 state qualifiers. One of those is an Oakwood High School athlete. We had a few Oakwood students that were close to also. They were 1 match away from competing, and those were 2 freshmen, 1 a girl and 1 a boy. Which Taylor Wells was one of our freshman wrestlers, and she was News Gazette Athlete of the Week for her regional play in wrestling. So I think the girls wrestling is really taking off. I just think it's going to get bigger, and we're going to have more and more. But 2 freshmen, Taylor Wells, female, and Weston Frazier, boy, freshman, they were 1 match away from going to state. And, they got a bright future in wrestling, and so that'll start tomorrow and go through Saturday. Our cheerleaders competed on February 7th at the state finals. That Friday, they made it to the 2nd day, which is the final day of competition. Ended up getting in the top 10 and 10th place overall. Sophomore Rylan Wilson, he was named the IHSCCO Small Varsity All-State member, which is quite an accomplishment. And the other thing I have is co-op news. I do have paperwork that I sent to Salt Fork about the next 2 years of co-oping for soccer, cross-country, and wrestling. I sent that off to Mr. Chambliss, and he's going to get that signed at their board meeting, and I'll bring it back to you guys. Another thing is those that Danville Schlarman, they approached us about co-oping for softball this year. And so co-oping has to be a 2-year process. So with our softball team, we have 10 Oakwood girls right now. 4 of them are freshmen. 1 of them is a senior who has like a torn hip muscle who's trying to play shortstop her senior year. We're an injury or 2 away from maybe not having a full season. Schlarman, I think, they had 4 that are they're dedicated to softball. And then they had 8 who were going to go out this year. And then if they could, they would have 10 kids who, they would grab 2 more that would be on the team, but they have no softball experience. So I talked to Ms. Forsyth, who's the athletic director there. I talked to my coach. They talked to their coach. We think that this fits to do co-op, because if we go now with the girls that we have, we're going to be able to play varsity right now. We're not going to be able to play any JV. And that's varsity with 4 freshmen who, in the coach's eyes, probably isn't ready for varsity ball. Same thing with Schlarman. They have some girls that are very talented from what I understand, but they can barely field the team. I told Ms. Forsyth that, we would necessarily own the co-op, like we would wear, our purple and white jerseys. We would primarily play on our field, although I'm not against playing until some games and whatnot. We would go with our schedule. I'm just concerned about, having to drop games during the season, not finishing the season if we have some issues. So I do have some paperwork here that I was going to give you, Randy. I did contact the IHSA. The deadline was February 1st to do co-ops for the spring, but they have given me a paper to fill out and kind of like a waiver thing. So one of these things is what I've sent both of these to Schlarman. And I would need like your signature on that for this information. And this is something I came up with, which is very similar to what I've given to solve for our co-op stuff. So. Other than that, I think that's all I've got. Oh, and we also let the BBC know, we have contacted them and emailed them, and the principals and the BBC are aware of that.
Now, this wasn't an agenda item, but, so Zach and I have been talking about this. I think it's probably in the best interest of our girls to have this co-op, because you lose a couple and your season's over. So now Schlarman doesn't have a team. We don't have a team. It's just a nightmare. So I would recommend to the board that we approve this co-op. It would have to be official at the next meeting, unless you want to call a special meeting to approve that. I just don't know that you want to take, I mean, we can do whatever we want, but I think our ability to field a softball team is probably, I would think that's what we want to do. I mean, we're all, and here's the thing, it's just not Oakwood. Once again, I think sometimes we live in a vacuum where we see how it only impacts us. Well, it doesn't only impact us, and Mark can attest to this because he was at Schlarman when they couldn't field teams, and our ability to give our kids an opportunity who want to participate, to me, is what's important. So I would recommend to the board, and obviously we can't take an official vote on this tonight, but that we give Zach the go-ahead to move forward with this co-op, and then either we call a special meeting and vote on it, or we officially approve it in March. But obviously with where we are right now, especially with IHSA's deadlines, that we go ahead and give him unofficial approval to move forward with this co-op. I know it's not what we would like to have done from a board and an official standpoint, but things pop up, and unfortunately we don't get to always have everything in neat order when things like this happen. So that's just my opinion.
One question, we've already co-op in a couple sports with Salt Fork, and is it odd to then co-op with another school for another sport?
Just from my past experience at Armstrong, I mean, we co-op football with Oakwood and we wrestled with Bismarck.
Okay.
I mean, we went wherever we could get our kids in to participate. Now, I don't know what the past history here has been. In talking with Zach, Salt Fork doesn't need our kids.
Yeah.
They've got a solid team.
But I do know, and so that's kind of an interesting thing. We had an AD meeting today, and I think Salt Fork's going in that direction in a few years. And I know they are in baseball. I know that we are tied in we're close to not having a JV team in baseball this year. I think we have enough numbers, but it's close, and I don't think Salt Fork will have a baseball team, but a JV team this year.
So if we don't have any, by your own admission, we don't have girls that are really ready for varsity.
Yeah.
Shouldn't we check with Salt Fork? Maybe our girls.
I don't know what kind of numbers they have. I know last year they had a lot last year. But I do know that Mr. Russell mentioned today, like, we're kind of going down.
I'm just saying, if he's going down, our girls could fit, and then you're kind of uniform with Salt Fork on this. And if they're coming down the road and they want to have the co-op with somebody, I think we would rather co-op with South Fork. I just, and
If they're I don't know if there's any interest there. I
I mean,
know,
it could be that our girls have to play mostly JV this year because South Fork's already got a team. And so I don't know that.
I'm sorry to interject. I just want to put it out there for food for thought. We have a solid girls, 3 years of solid girls coming up. So if that changes I just want to say, I just looked, we have 8 eighth graders for softball, 10 seventh graders, and a huge 6th grade softball group.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to put that out there so you know that what's coming. As for boys, that is not the case. We don't have a large boy group coming,
right.
but just food for thought, what's coming up in the next few years, if that kind of gives you, I just wanted to interject that.
I think that, if you throw out, like, you got 10 groups this year and you're gonna play a lot of freshmen, or, will they get beat around enough where they may not play their sophomore? Maybe, probably, and I think we have some room to kind of build on that and then have that group come in, as freshmen and be able to play some JV ball rather than throw even them into varsity. Of course, you might have a few that are good enough to play varsity, but maybe not all of them.
What you've got at 5 and 6 doesn't mean that's what you got at freshman and sophomore.
Absolutely.
Is there any way, you said we're gonna get a special waiver, can you get a waiver for it to only be 1 year instead of 2?
No, from what I understand, it has to be 2. Has to be a 2-year thing.
And that's just so you can't, you got a couple studs and you jump into a co-op and now you win a state tournament, then you jump back out of it.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. They want some commitment.
Yeah, I do know that Milford and Watsika joined, they co-opted in girls basketball this year and they missed the deadline and they got like a waiver. They went ahead because Milford was only gonna have like a handful of girls. And so they were able to get it done.
And truthfully, Bob, we might have an issue if Salt Fork's got plenty of girls of them granting us a special waiver to go with Salt Fork. I think they look at it as need. If Salt Fork, if Schlarman can't really field a team and we can't really field a team, they might give you a waiver on that, but that's not going to be the case with Salt Fork.
All right.
Yeah,
Did Schlarman reach out to anyone else for co-ops? Were we there
I
first?
think they reached out to Armstrong, from what I've understood. And I think it might be a decent fit because I think the Schlarman softball coach was thinking of not coming back. But when she heard word that there might be a co-op with our team, she's like, I will help. I can do what I can to help and assist. She kind of, it sounded like she agreed to be an assistant. I think sometimes if you go, there might be sometimes with co-ops like, well, if we were the softball coach, like, well, I'm the head coach and you're, I feel like this was a better fit.
Okay.
And it's just like what Mr. Mulvaney mentioned is it's a need. I think both teams could need this, like your daughter's out for the year. Like we had some injuries this year that we have some athletes that are out for the year. We have primarily one pitcher this year. Schlarman has one pitcher this year. That makes it a lot better for us. And I think the other pitchers that we would have are freshmen who do not have the experience at a varsity level. I mean, we all know that it's way different coming from last time you played softball as an 8th grader to playing against juniors and seniors, So it's just kind of, the timing seems a little, probably a good one. And, we can revisit after 2 years and maybe both programs are kind of like we can go our separate ways, or maybe it'll be a great fit and we continue. I don't know.
When did the state need this back by? As soon as possible, I'm sure.
Well, if you sign it tonight, I'm going to the school and I'm gonna scan it and send it to ISSA.
Yeah.
That's kind of my thing. That's my plan anyway. Because they said they wanted it by Monday, and I'm like, well, like last Monday, and I'm like, well, I got bored. I can't. I was waiting for a night.
I get hung up on procedure. I'm just gonna let you know. These guys know me well enough that I'm sitting here going, I can support, I would support this, but it's not on the agenda for tonight.
Okay, yeah.
And I'm willing to come back in here and meet to get this done because I think it's important, but procedurally, I don't want to get hung out on that.
Can we make a motion to?
It's not on the agenda. That's,
So at best, we could meet, what, Friday? She'd have to post it. No,
Post
Yeah.
a meeting.
it'd have to be Monday, right? Because you'd have to have 2 full
48
days.
hours, yeah, because we miss,
Right.
Or Saturday morning.
yeah, or Saturday morning. Doesn't have to be.
Not because I have to go to Bloomington for hockey, but I will support
Yeah.
whoever you need.
What do we need, 5?
Yeah, we just need quorum.
4.
Or
If we do it early enough, I'm okay for Saturday morning. I don't have anything till noon.
I'm looking in the back of the room to check my schedule.
Oh, is it? That's good. That's good.
Let's see if we can get something on
Okay,
very quickly.
that's fine.
That way we can get this through. Thank you for bringing it forward.
No,
I'm just, I don't
I
want
know
to
it's
get,
kind of crazy. It's just, it was brought to me last week.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, so let's see what we can do here.
like I said, I can support. I just want to make sure we
Do
do it right.
Do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything else?
it. Nope.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Steele. Oakwood Grade School Principal, Ms. Lepenis.
Nothing to add, but I do want to give a public shout out to our 5th graders. They have 0 office referrals for the month of January, and that's amazing. So if you know a 5th grader, give them a high five, thumbs up. We're super proud of them. And then I also want to shout out Tiffany Johnson. She was nominated as News Gazette Teacher of the Week, and so hopefully you're able to see that article. She's amazing and well deserving of that, so I'm glad that we were able to celebrate her.
Any questions for Ms. Lepenis? Thank you. Ms. Acton.
Nothing to add except that I don't think Roger's in here. Thank you to Roger for working on transportation this morning. Many of you probably heard about the fire in the community, and we had to reroute and pick up kids and keep circling back to pick up kids. And he stayed out there and made sure that kids got picked up. Then Miss Lepenis is going to put something
Sorry, I
out.
meant to mention that too.
Yeah.
I'm talking with Taylor right now, about gathering gift cards, putting out to get donations to get those to, Ava and her dad, so that they can get what they need as they're getting back on their feet. So I'm gonna post about that and hopefully I know that the community is great, so I'm sure we'll have a lot of support come our way for that, for the family.
Any questions for Ms. Acton? Thank you. Ms. Johnson.
My board report was pretty full with lots of things. I don't have anything to add other than our 7th graders are now playing in county tournament. They just started for 3rd place, and tomorrow our 8th graders are playing for the championship game. So that wasn't
Any question, Ms. Johnson? Thank you. Technology, Mr. Richardson.
I do not have anything more to add.
Thank you, sir. Transportation, Mr. Wolf has
Had to drive
Had to
tonight.
drive, yeah. Maintenance, Mr. Siddons.
I don't have anything more to add.
Any question for Mr. Siddons? Okay. Do I have a motion to enter closed session at 6:14 PM?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Motion by Hicks, seconded by Janeski to enter closed session at 6:14 PM. Hicks?
Yes.
Janeski?
Yes.
Lynn?
Yes.
Ludwig?
Yes.
Smith?
Yes.
Woodard?
Yes.
Hart? Yes. Motion carried, roll call vote.
We are on.
Need a motion to re-enter open session at 7:21 PM.
So moved.
Roll call.
Motion by Lynn, second by Lynn, to re-enter open session at 7:24 PM. Janeski?
Yes.
Lynn?
Yes.
Ludwig?
Yes.
Smith?
Yes.
Woodard?
Yes.
Hart? Yes.
Series 2025 of Community Unit School District Number 76, Vermillion and Champaign Counties, Illinois, for the purpose of increasing the working cash fund of the district, providing for the levy of a direct annual tax sufficient to pay the principal and interest on said bonds, and authorizing the sale of said bonds to the purchaser thereof. Do a motion to approve the recommendation as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
So tonight on the agenda, this is the last step that the board has to take with respect to the bond sale. It's a three-step process. So last month we did the public hearing. The month before that, we did the resolution of intent. $1.25 million is what's on the agenda. So this is the sale resolution. I've got a lot of documents that will need to be signed by the president, secretary, and treasurer, pending board approval. We are proposing to sell this in the form of a self-purchase bond, which is the same as what the district did for the $800,000 that we sold last year. Meaning the district will be investing their own funds to purchase the bonds and then recouping that investment over time as the levy comes in to repay the bonds. Closing costs of 2.5% on the issue. So the second page has a graph showing what the outstanding bonds will look like for the district after the issuance. You can see all the different series of bonds. I apologize, it's fine print there, but the series in orange, it is color coordinated to match up with the graph at the bottom. So you have the series 2020 bonds, the series 2021A bonds, the 2021B, the 2024, which was the $800,000 for the land purchase last year. And then this will be the new series 2025 bonds in purple. The graph at the bottom shows that those bonds will be paying off in 2 additional years. So basically the district will have the opportunity to come back and look at another bond sometime between now and the 2027 levy year, if they want to keep that levy rolling.
Kendall, if the board changed their minds and wanted you to sell the 1.25 versus us purchasing it, how much of an issue would that be?
Are you doing your special meeting on Saturday morning?
Yes, we are.
Then we'll have an action item on Saturday morning for that then. It does have to be, so to count towards your 2024 levy, it does have to be completed and filed before the end of February. So it is a fairly quick turnaround to sell it outside. Is the primary concern with fund balances for the district?
It's having that money up front, not coming already out of our pocket, considering that the district's already going to put $1 million of its own money into the roof project. So that money, the 1.25 would have to be recuperated through the taxing process every year. And basically, we would be spending 2.25 out of our funds and not recouping that money until for the next 3 years, correct?
Correct, yep. So the first distribution will be this year's levy, which will come in this summer. But that's for a fairly small amount, and that's $111,000 this first year. The bigger chunk will be coming in next year, which would mean December of 2026 would be when you are journal entering the money back from the debt service fund into the education fund. So your current education fund, what was the low point that it got to? Have you received your audit yet from last year? What is kind of the low point? Was that around 9-ish?
It's 8.5.
1.85 was the low point from last year, so you'll be spending, 1.5 out of that already. And then the question is, do you do another $1.25 million out of that fund balance?
Well, I just think maybe the board's more comfortable having that money up front because this project will be obviously done this summer. So that's, 2.15. It's going to be gone for the roof project in August. So if you sold that out front, really, we'd only be out $1 million of district funds versus being, 2.1 or 2.15.
I mean, I'd be surprised if you have a cash flow issue with, even if you had $6 million of fund balance left over the next 2 years. To me, it'd be surprising if you had a cash flow issue with that in the next 2 years. But I don't want to push one way or the other. I can sell a bond outside just as easy as self-purchase. I mean, so whatever the district wants to do, it's just really a matter of the interest component.
What's, if you were to sell it, what's that interest rate?
Between 4 and 5%.
We have a motion and a second. Do I have do we need to table this?
Well, I'd have to make a decision either tonight to go ahead with this
Or table until Saturday?
or put it on Saturday's agenda to ask Kendall to sell them outside.
Yeah.
So if you think, once again, $6 million in the ed fund, some of you who have been on this board longer than others would know how comfortable you've been when the district was in that with your other fund balances, probably in the
When you're
8
talking-
million range versus the
Yeah.
11 million range.
When you're talking about cash flow, which do you personally feel most comfortable looking at?
Well,
Because cash flow is obviously the problem, correct?
I mean, it's the nuclear option, right? Can we function on 6 million in the ed fund? Yeah, if we get all our typical funding, sure we can. It's whether you want to have that over the next couple of years, that funding coming back on self-purchase on the bonds versus having that 1.1, that 1.25 right up front from outside. First, tax
Yeah,
money, and then you're going to get
628.
the next 2 years. So you're going to recoup the 1.3 or what was it 1.35 over the next 3 years if you self-purchase.
So if there was a serious cash flow issue, I mean, what do you do if a school is totally broken, doesn't have money? Essentially, you can always come back and refinance this bond or any of your existing bonds. At that point, then you'd be turning around and selling it outside. So you'd incur some additional costs because you'd start paying interest outside at that point. But realistically, it probably wouldn't be more than what you were earning in the first place from the self-purchase. And the other option would be there always is what's called tax anticipation warrants, which is a very short-term borrowing. So if you got in a spot where you didn't receive your tax money, you needed money for 2 months just to get by, you could sell a tax anticipation warrant. So there are backup options in place if there was a cash flow issue.
I just thought it'd be nice. And you can put that on me, Ken. I just thought it'd be nice for them to have that 1.25 up front versus waiting over the next 2 years. But I mean, I don't think the district would have a cash flow issue if you self-purchased. I just thought that paying off the roofing project right off the bat with only $1 million of the district's own dollars, it just, to me, that feels a little bit more comfortable. But I mean, obviously you're giving up what, $10,000 in interest.
So when we self-purchase, you're going to clarify that. When we self-purchase these, then we buy the
bonds. We buy our own bonds.
We put up $1.2 million. Then why wouldn't, but we're paying interest on that. Why wouldn't we just write the check then and pay for
Because
it?
you don't get the levy for it. So to get the revenue stream back, you have to go through a bond process to be able to establish the levy, to be able to levy the taxes to get it paid back. So the property tax levy is what's going to pay these back. So you're going to end up with an additional either 1.25 or 1.38. So the only difference between self-purchase and selling outside is do you get the money up front and then do a traditional sale, then $135,000 of interest roughly goes to the investor, or do you self-purchase, then you get nothing up front, but you get 1.38 over the course of the next 3 years.
But it comes off the property tax, right?
Either way, it's coming
So
out of
then-
property taxes.
So then if we've got the money to buy the bonds, why wouldn't we just not burden the property tax?
Well, if you just spend the money with a out of the fund balances, then you're at 600,000 and it's never going back to 8 million. Then your fund balance goes to 6 million and it's never going back up to that extra million of 1.3
So basically, you just be
million.
writing a check for the project without bonds, period.
Right, but you're still paying interest on it and it's coming off property tax. Even though you're getting it back, you're still burdening, that money's coming from someplace. So if you're gonna take the money and buy them, then why would you? I guess I don't
We're
understand.
accumulating the interest rate though, when we do that.
So,
We're accumulating the interest rate.
right. So
Yeah.
instead of paying a bank to buy our bonds and paying them interest, we're gaining the interest off those bonds. That's why you do the self-purchase. If you self-purchase, obviously we get that interest rate. If you just write a check for 2.15 million, then you really crush your ed fund and you don't recoup that 2.1 anytime soon. So really you put yourself in a, what I would say moving forward, be a precarious place with your fund balances and your cash flow. That's why we bonded it. That's why we issue 1.25 to begin with. We wanted some skin in the game with the $1 million that we're going to spend, which, you know, is going to take a while to recoup. But we wanted to pay for half that with these bonds. So it becomes, do we go ahead and buy those bonds and get the interest off of it? Or do we have a bank buy them and they get the interest off of them and we just get that money up front? Either way, I mean, no matter what we do, the taxpayers are going to have to help pay for that roof project. Period.
And some of this comes back to even the financial plan from starting with the original issue last year, which part of that question last year was, hey, should we just go pay 800,000 for this land or should we bond for it? You know, if you just pay money out of fund balance, that's gone, it's not coming back. If you bond for it, you establish the property tax levy to get that money back. And so the decision that the board made at that time was kind of, hey, our EAV has been growing pretty substantially. The overall tax rate has been coming down quite a bit. So the idea was, rather than letting the property tax rate keep going down, what if we look at how can we just smooth it out, kind of level it off, and keep that revenue coming in to pay for A, the land purchase, last year, B, the roof project this year, and then C, potential future projects down the road. It's a lot easier if you keep your bond levy pretty consistent over a 5, 10, 20-year period. rather than if you let it drop off. I mean, everybody likes it when the property taxes drop off, and you see that for a couple of years. Within 3 years down the road, if you gotta go do a large project, you bring that back on, all of a sudden your property tax rate jacks back up. People are gonna be much more happy if they just see smooth overall rather than kind of whipsawing your taxes up and down. So a little bit of the decision last year with the 800,000 was to even start that process of just smoothing out the levy so that the rate didn't come down as much.
And part of that too was with our truth and taxation hearing was our tax rate had been dropping. And at some point, we had to recoup that money. So that was part of it too.
Right, I don't have a problem with that. I'm just thinking, so, like, why would we buy the bonds, spend the money to buy the bonds if we did the bonding to get the money to put to our fund? If we just wouldn't just sell them to outside and keep the money in our account.
Well, that's just, I mean, that's it.
That's what I'm trying to, long story around.
No, and it's
That's what I'm trying to get at.
okay. Do you want the interest that's going to result from us buying it, which is 135,000 back into the district, or do you want that money up front and whoever purchases the bond makes that money? But we don't deplete the ed fund, 2.1 versus just $1 million. So, I mean, do you want that 135,000 or do you want somebody else to have it and we just have the security knowing that half that roof was paid for by the bonds versus coming out of the ed fund?
I personally like $135,000 in the bank at the end of when the bond matures.
Can we table it and put it on for Saturday as an option A or option B to approve one of the two?
Well, my question would be, I mean, Kendall, I don't know, you tell me.
I have to reprint all my papers, but I can do that. I want to make sure you guys get the right thing. I mean, if you're not sure what you want to do, I'm happy to do that.
Well, I'm the guy that kind of said to you, I thought if we just sold them to the outside, having that 1.25 would be nice. It just takes off a little bit of that. It just gives some comfort knowing that half that's paid for. But once again, Kendall can attest. I mean, I used him at Armstrong, and we always bought our bonds because we always wanted to get the interest off of it. I don't think it's a bad thing to get 135,000 in interest over 3 years. It's not a bad thing to be uncomfortable, but like I said, I suggested to you, maybe we should, sell them outside and have that comfort knowing that we've got a 1.25 up front versus writing checks out of.
How close can you come up to the idea of telling us where we'll be at the start of 2026, 27, if we do it and gain the 135,000 over those 3 years?
What do you mean by how close we'll be?
Our cash flow, how close we will be.
Look,
and I realize you're going to look at it and say, I can't guarantee state money. I can't guarantee some
Right.
things.
I think when we did the truth and taxation, I'll say it again tonight. I see nothing but growth in EAV for at least the next 5 to 7 years. So I don't think you're going to lose money on your taxes. It's not like, it's not like we're going to get hit with losing that tax revenue. Can I go to the Department of Education? I don't know. The governor's saying, we're going to be whatever, $5 billion on the red side in state revenues. So I don't know about grant money. I think your tax revenue will be steady and solid. I don't think it's a bad thing to buy your bonds. when I said to you, it'd be nice to have that 1.25 up front, that was just a comfort thing for me that, you know, when we write all our checks this summer for that roof project, that, you know, half that was being taken care of by these bonds. If you know, once again, it's hard to look at 135,000 of basically free income coming into the district over the next 3 years and not think that that's a little bit of a nice, you know,
That's total.
that's total.
Yeah, so.
You know, as
45,000 a year.
as a board, a year ago, we had that education fund up at nine plus. And now we're really looking at, are we comfortable taking it down to 6? That's a big change in what we've all done as a board. We said it, and we obviously sat around and didn't fix some things, didn't pay for some things to build that up.
But I would say this to you, Bob, in 2 years, that's going to be back up to over 7. In 3 years, it's going to be back at 8 with the $1 million you paid out of our funds already to pay for the roof. So are you comfortable in recouping that in 3 years, or are you not comfortable? And I don't know what answer is correct here. It's whether you want that comfort up front, or if you look at that 135,000 and go, that's kind of silly not to get that interest.
Yeah.
So in terms of the 800 we did last year, the first installment of that would have been already journal entry December of 24. The second installment will be coming. So even though there's only 111 coming off of this issue, there's also 442 off of that first 800,000 that will also be coming back to the district this first year. So this summer's levy.
We'll get a $500,000.
You'll get that 442, which will raise you up, you know,
Okay.
around the same time that you're making those payments during the summers when you're going to be getting that tax distribution for the 442. They technically don't journal entry it until December, so it'll technically be in the debt service fund, but it'll still be money in the bank at that time from an overall cash flow perspective.
Okay. So that makes me more comfortable.
So yeah, it's not like the full 800 is out that we did last time. That's half that's already back. The other half that's coming back this summer.
Okay.
So basically, that would basically be, you know, what? 700,000, 750. If you get that 440 plus the 110 back in August with this new tax.
You only come up to 6.5, won't you?
553 maybe.
So what I'm saying is if you buy the 1.25, you're basically going to be out seven more. So it'd be 1.7 for the roof project, probably by the time we got done, if you bought your own bonds. And then you would recoup the rest of that over the next the 2 years after this.
Okay.
Do anything.
I think we're all leaning to buy our own bonds.
It's hard to turn that money down, but the only thing I worry about is the crapshoot with the state.
Well, I heard the state, even though they got that, they're putting 325 million more in education.
I hope so.
So. That doesn't mean we get any of it.
Well, I think, look, from a cash flow perspective, I don't think that's an issue. For me, when I suggested selling them outside, it was all just a comfort thing.
Yeah.
I mean, when we talk about 6, that's only in the ed fund. It's not the rest of your, you know, it's not the rest of our funds either combined. So
no.
I don't, you know, it wouldn't bother me at all if the board decided to buy their bonds. I don't think it's going to hurt you financially. Like I said, the 1.25 was a comfort thing for me, just having that money up front. But he's right. I mean, if something happened, you could refinance your bonds and, I mean, it's not like you're going broke anytime soon. Let's put it that way.
Okay.
Any further discussion? Any more questions? Roll call.
Totally forgot who did it.
United second.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Motion by Lynn, seconded by Woodard to approve the resolution for the bonds as presented, correct? Okay. Lynn,
Yes.
Ludwig,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Woodard,
Yes.
Hart,
Yes.
Hicks,
Yes.
Janeski.
Yes.
Motion carried by roll call vote for.
Agenda item 11B, we have a recommendation to approve Candy Penrod for the position of personal aide for the 24-25 school year. Ms. Penrod will be paid $15 per hour. Have a motion to approve the recommendation.
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion? Roll call.
Motion by Ludwig, seconded by Hart to approve Candy Penrod employment as presented. Ludwig,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Woodard,
Yes.
Hart,
Yes.
Hicks,
Yes.
Janeski,
Yes.
Lynn.
Yes.
Motion carried by roll call vote 5.
Agenda item 11C, we have a motion to recommend Tiffany Bruins for the 7th and 8th grade girls track coach position for the 24-25 school year. She'll be on step 1 of the salary schedule. We have a motion to approve the recommendation as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Motion by Hart, seconded by Hicks to approve Tiffany Bruin's employment as presented. Smith,
Yes.
Woodard,
Yes.
Hart,
Yes.
Hicks,
Yes.
Janeski,
Yes.
Lynn,
Yes.
Ludwig.
Yes.
Motion carried by roll call vote 6.
Agenda item 11D, we have a motion to recommend Olivia Turner for the 7th and 8th grade boys track coach position for the 24-25 school year. She'll be on step 1 of the salary schedule. Have a motion to approve the recommendation as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
Ludwig, seconded by Hart to approve Olivia Turner employment as presented. Woodard,
Yes.
Hart,
Yes.
Hicks,
Yes.
Janeski,
Yes.
Lynn,
Yes.
Ludwig,
Yes.
Smith.
Yes.
Motion carried by roll call vote 7.
Agenda item 11E, we have a motion to recommend, we have recommendation for Amanda Chestnut for the position of dedicated substitute for the remainder of the 24-25 school year. We have a motion to approve the recommendation as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Motion by Ludwig, seconded by Janeski to approve the employment of Amanda Chestnut as presented. Hart,
Yes.
Hicks,
Yes.
Janeski,
Yes.
Lynn,
Yes.
Ludwig,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Woodard.
Yes.
Motion carried by roll call vote 8.
Agenda item 12, do we have any new business? Okay.
Next board meeting date, it would be around.
Yeah, a motion, or do I have a motion to adjourn at 7:49 PM? We will have a special board meeting. We'll have that out on the calendars here as soon as we're able. What's that?
Changing next month's too.
We'll be changing next month's to avoid spring break. So
26th.
26th at 5:30 PM. Yes. Do I have a motion to adjourn at 7:49?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Motion by Lynn, seconded by Hart to adjourn at 7:49 PM. Hicks,
Yes.
Janeski,
Yes.
Lynn,
Yes.
Ludwig,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Woodard,
Yes.
Hart.
Yes.
You wanted to
Motion carried by
stay
roll
on
call vote 9.